we're going to be exploring a network token for Base. And I will be upfront with y'all. It's early. And I'm a little nervous, like my heart's racing sitting here on stage. And as we thought about sharing this like early exploration, I got all sorts of advice. People telling me, don't share it. You need to keep it close to your chest. It's too early. And I sat back in myself, and our team sat back in ourselves, and we said, what's the base way to do this? And the base way was we do it in the open. We don't have all the answers. We really don't. But we're going to figure it out. And we're going to figure it out together.
So that was the announcement at Basecamp that the Base Layer 2 blockchain is actively exploring the possibility of a new token. And if that were to happen, it would be the biggest launch in years, because Coinbase is already one of the biggest exchanges, and it is by far the biggest ETF custodian in the crypto industry. Coinbase is simply a massively important player in the crypto industry, really no matter what they do, and it looks like they could soon have a token. What does that mean for you? Is it something that's worth buying? We're going to deep dive and analyze all things Base, Coinbase, and this potential token in this video. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie, and this is Altcoin Buzz. All the best of luck if you choose to invest. I wish you very, very well, genuinely. But just remember, I am not a financial or investment advisor, nor is this video official financial or investment advice. Okay, first off, before we get into exactly why Base is considering a token in the first place, I think a question is worth considering. Why don't they already have one? The answer to that is that the United States and its regulatory environment kind of is what it is. Coinbase has its stock already. That is classified as a security. And their concern is that the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, would just not allow it, or maybe accuse them of compliance violations. That's because the SEC governs Coinbase stock. And right now it's unclear whether the SEC or the CFTC would regulate the issuance of a token. The chains out there that are commodities, such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and others, those are under the eye of the CFTC. This is often better, even with the Trump-improved SEC that we've been seeing. So that's why there's been no token before, in a nutshell. Now, I don't think we have to go too deep into the reasons why a project would want a token. You probably know them already, but a couple of things that are Coinbase specific include adding significant value to Coinbase for its stockholders. There's also possibilities in terms of RWAs, real world assets. That is due to Coinbase's clean regulatory record. The fact that Coinbase, like I said, is the biggest ETF custodian in the industry. Therefore, it would be pretty easy to tokenize ETFs on chain, on Base. And I think with the right tokenomics and proper deployment execution, this could be a top 5 token. I think that's pretty realistic, actually. But like all things, it's not only up, there are also risks here. In this case, there are a few that I think are worth considering, especially if they get that tokenomics part wrong. That is crucially important in my opinion. Optimism and Arbitrum are high quality L2s with a token that unfortunately is not performing well. And if we were to look objectively, it's probably easy to see why. Base Chain and Uniswap's new Unichain were both built using Optimism's tools and are part of the Optimism superchain. You may not have known that because the fact is that most people don't. And you also don't know about it because Base and Uniswap tend not to publicize it. Neither does Optimism, nor does Optimism earn more money on Base Chain transactions for being key to their entire setup. So the token is not really aligned with what the chain actually does or the revenue that it necessarily brings in. This is actually a key mistake that Coinbase has to avoid if it wants the Base token to be successful. I want to do a quick shout out to Surge here, which is our risk-free prediction game on Telegram, kind of a cross between maybe Hamster Combat and even Tinder actually. You swipe either left or right to predict whether an asset, a crypto asset, is going to pump or dump. And in the process, you earn rewards. And you can also pick up some market skills in the form of TA while you're at it. There's also a new daily giveaway. It's a contest that is super simple. Every day there's a coin of the day Today it is Stellar and the Lumen, the XLM token. All you have to do is swipe to find Stellar on the Surge app. When you see it, screenshot it, and then drop it under their tweet. One random reply wins $10 in USDT. It's super easy, so that may as well be you. You may as well throw your hat into the race and try to win, but you have to participate in order to have a chance. So check out Surge, have some fun swiping, and perhaps, if you're lucky, snag some prizes along the way. Check out the link in the description of this video. Now, without a doubt, we have two sectors in particular, DeFi and AI agents, which are the biggest sectors within the Base ecosystem. For now, DeFi is dominating with platforms like Morpho, Aerodome, and really any apps that work seamlessly between the Coinbase exchange and the Base chain to get people on chain. It's smooth and it works, which is nice. But AI agents on Base are growing rapidly, particularly Virtuals and its ecosystem of agents. You may know AIXBT already as the crypto trading/news AI agent, and a fast-growing presence is also Base Pay. With that, you get the tools to add one-click checkout with payments in USDC on Base chain. It is fast, it's cheap, and it's easy, which is pretty much how people want it to be. So this is the sleeper sector, I'd say, within Base. It's going to go farther, faster than Solana Pay has gone so far. And that being said, kind of with respect to Solana Pay, because that's doing pretty well. But they don't have Circle as a big investor the way Base does. So what does this all mean for Coinbase's stock, whose symbol is COIN, coin, on the NASDAQ in the United States? If you own some coin, then you own a share of an $84 billion company. And the same is true for you, by the way, if you own the X stocks tokenized version, that is CoinX, with Backed as the custodian. So what would a Base token do for Coinbase stockholders? One way to play this, and maybe you heard us discuss it recently in our X space, we were talking about this on Tuesday. One method is to buy Coinbase stock, the regular or the tokenized version, because the closest comparison for a combo token of network token and exchange token is BNB. BNB, as I record right now, has a $138.5 billion market cap. It's actually just down. It was over $1,000 per token a little bit earlier this morning. So things are looking pretty good for BNB. And a Base token won't get up to that level right away, but let's say even if it launches at the $200 million mark, some of that goes to the team. So how much of that value accrues to Coinbase stock since Coinbase owns the chain? Unfortunately, we don't know the answer to this, but what we do know is that the answer is some number that is greater than zero. So that's one way to play this. Buy Coinbase stock, or the X stocks version if you prefer, to hold it on chain. Now, could Base overtake Coinbase in value? It's an interesting question. If we think about BNB that we talked about a moment ago, we have to consider what makes it so effective. A few other exchanges tokens are pretty good too, but obviously BNB is the leader. And I would say kind of the key ingredient is the alignment between usage and other incentives and how these things affect the token. The more people that use Binance, the more BNB in fees gets burned each quarter. It's kind of a virtuous cycle. Everybody wins. Binance actually burns more than $1 billion worth of BNB every quarter now. That's the stat. So if Coinbase gets the tokenomics, like I said, and incentives right, then it has a lot of potential. Base could have a value in the hundreds of billions of dollars, similar to what we're seeing now with BNB. And that's more than Coinbase's value today. Now, would that continue, or would the coin token stock value rise as well? Again, we don't know the answer to that, but cases like this have happened before. Some subsidiaries and sister companies are actually worth more than the entire company together. In fact, this is one of the ways that private equity used to make big money back in the day. They would find and maybe break up the unprofitable pieces and then hold the ones that do make money, that are profitable, or sell one profitable piece to hold the rest for free, just as an example. But it does look like buying Coinbase stock could be a lower risk play to profit from how all of this is going to play out.